so nice to be here. This is our third year in a row, and it's such an honor and a pleasure not just to work with Anne on the whole program, but to be able to talk to you. This particular track is about transforming you, so it's taking individual and what you can do to make yourself better and more productive, more part of making the world a better place. And we're hearing about so many exciting things over the next 2 days, which is what I love about the conference. Innovation and transformation. People who have such great ideas that want to make the world a better place. So it's quite, I just love the content. And the interesting thing about innovation and transformation is that it doesn't matter if there's not adoption. So people can have great ideas. They can put them together, but if you can't get people to use it, it doesn't matter. So the reflection, the connection between innovation and adoption, the human, is key to making anything move forward. So what does that have to do with each one of us? Well, when we think about being a better person, more productive, continuing the journey of transformation to make ourselves better, part of it is attitude and intent. Another big, huge part of it is behavior. So what we do is we work with people improving skills. A wonderful Catholic priest that left the Catholic Church to become a mentor in this wonderful company that I started my career with, he said, you can't give people confidence. You can't transform somebody else. But what you can do is help them with behavior. If you can offer skills to folks that will help them with their user interface, to develop skills to work the human operating system to be more effective, you will indeed make the world a better place. So that's what we do. We help people with skills. So can't change your attitude, but can modify skills, or at least work together. The only thing I'd love to say about attitude is I'd love to share with you what I learned when I was 13. So attitude. And this is more for the people who have some tread, and I can get away with saying that because I'm probably older than all of you. When I was 13, my father said to me, there's no good music has been written since 1942. What? And I wondered, because I'm the oldest child of an Irish Catholic family, so I was very wise at that age, I wondered, is this nature that when you get old, you think anything new is bad? Or is it a choice? Is it nature or is it a choice? Well, I decided when I was 13 that it has to be a choice because I choose not to be that way. Although I have to admit that my son is a drummer, and the kind of music that he first started playing was the one where you bang your head. I didn't quite understand it, but I chose to learn to appreciate it. But it is an effort for those of us that, as we go forward, our attitude that anything new that comes along, we think sometimes is bad. Have you heard of new math? Over in the US, there's a new way of subtracting. Okay, I work on attitude. The first thing when I heard that is knee-jerk reaction. That's stupid. That's stupid. There's no skill that helps you from that except the choice of, instead of knee-jerk reacting to that, to say, tell me more about that, right? So anyway, that's just about attitude. Okay, let's talk about skill. The number one thing that Aristotle said is seek understanding. If there's any skill that we can always work on ourselves is to listen to other people. Now, how many people out there think they're good listeners? Yeah, right. Okay. God gave most of us the ability to hear. Nobody listens to anybody. No matter whether you're a captain, a king, or a queen, you've innovated the most incredible thing. The hardest thing that we have in our lives, working with people, is to teach people to listen. If you seek understanding first before you do anything else, it has such a difference in what you do. Now, Aristotle said this is how you win. This is how you win a debate. This is how you can conquer if you understand culture. his intent was much purer than that. It's how you inspire, how you motivate, how you can be persuasive to move something in a certain direction if your intent is good. You have to understand the context that you're dealing with. So one of the things that we teach, and this is a skill, is how to deliver hard feedback. And there were so many young people becoming managers over the last 15, 16 years, and a lot of them would be managing their friends, and that's very difficult. So how can you help folks manage other people? But we find this transcends all ages. So the first thing, if you have to deliver hard feedback, the first thing that you have to do as a manager or as a colleague is figure out what is the activity that this person is doing that bugs you. And this is not talking about someone that should be fired. Let's talk about high-performance team people, and there's just some behavior that the person could do better. So what is it that they're doing? You can never, ever, ever tell someone that everybody said something about them. Because as soon as you say to somebody, well, everyone's talking about the fact that you're blank, what is that poor person thinking? Who are those people? I can't believe that they talked about me. I mean, you're just going right to the insecurity. So as a good manager, you want to find out, have examples yourself. Even if you have to hunt them out a little bit, because sometimes you do hear things, have your own examples. That's number one. Number two, what is your intent? Sometimes we let people's behavior go too far before we give them feedback, so we're annoyed with them or we're upset with them. But if you take just a moment to think about the intent, I do want the person to stay on the team. They are very valuable. I like them. They only wouldn't do this one thing. So that examining your intent can slow you down so you don't go in an angry way. The other thing is to set up a meeting about the activity. And this is the hardest thing to do, to let somebody know, this morning you were late again for the third time. I'd love to spend some time with you talking about it. If you let the person know that that's the topic you're talking about, it's better for them. Even if they get nervous about it, how do you feel when you're surprised? I'd like to have a meeting with you. Come on in. Sit down. By the way you do this, it really just takes you off guard. So the kindest thing to do is to let them know what the meeting is about. The key then is to find out from them what the story is. Why are they doing that? And this is the seeking understanding. Have them talk about the examples, and then say, why do you think this is happening? And because you've done the intent thing with your tone is impacted, you don't say, so why do you think this is happening? It's more, so why do you think this is happening? And listen to their story. Because sometimes there's something you might not know, so they get to tell their story. And then when you're done with that, ask them what they think they should do about it. Most people who are high-performance team people who actually care about what they do will come up with a plan that's even more interesting maybe than yours, okay? Now there's an attitude check here. If you say, what can we do about this and how can we make this work out? If they go like this, and usually they're seated, and they turn like this, they kind of shake their head, well, then you have an attitude problem. An attitude problem is very different than the problem you're there talking to them about. If you have an attitude problem, you have to have another meeting. And if you're Sheryl Sandberg's husband, who's up in heaven, David Goldberg, he would say, you're smart, you're creative, you got a bad attitude, you're fired. So, that's a different attitude, because to have people that are negative, it's a whole different problem. Now, and then you work it out with the person, and lots of times they come up with a plan. We created this for Google like 16 years ago when they had all these young people coming in, and they didn't know how to manage each other. And there was this one particular woman on a team. They were engineers, and as most of you know, engineers are the most intelligent people on the planet, or so they will tell you, and they believe it. The human operating system as far as communicating is not the highest thing in the beginning. So this one gal on her team was late all the time. Completely, late for the meeting at 4 o'clock, and it was really important that they got together. And she was really annoyed. And we were coaching her, and we were just working on this program. So she wanted to transfer her to another team, and we said, okay, well, can you go through this with us and just see if it works? Because you don't really know, because they didn't communicate very well with each other. So anyway, she called the girl, and they got together to have a meeting, and she did. We practiced with her. She got to the point, because her tone was right, she did care about this person, extremely talented. Because of the comfort that she allowed this young woman, the gal let her know that her mom had early-stage Alzheimer's and was across the street at the Stanford University and was fed every day at 4 o'clock. She'd get on her bike and she'd get over there as fast as she could to help feed her mom and to say hello and then get back as fast as she could. She never would have known this because the manager was ready to transfer her to another team or do something like that. So because she took that moment and she actually listened and she was seeking understanding, she changed the time of her meeting so it wasn't 4 o'clock. So you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen if you give somebody the chance to tell you their story. So he said, Aristotle, seek understanding. Before everything else, if you do that, as far as transforming yourself, keeping yourself fresh and being a student of life, if you first give that person a chance, give that group a chance to tell you what they think, what their point of view is, you will inspire, you'll motivate, you'll be far more successful in making the world a better place. So, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the session.